Good morning, everybody, on this very frigid but very bright Sunday morning here from Moon Township, Pennsylvania. It is time for the RMU Women's Club Volleyball Home Tournament. This event actually got started about an hour ago. It got kicked off around 8:30 or so. And there are quite a few teams in play here today. I believe there's 7 teams who are here. RMU has 2 teams in the field, RMU Navy, which just competed on Court 1 a moment ago, and RMU Red, which is taking the floor right now. I will be your play-by-play voice today, Alex Gagnon. Alongside me, at least to start, Emily Carey. Emily, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Alex. I'm really excited to be here. I think this is going to be a good time. I've only ever cast, I think, 2 other volleyball games, and I think that they were both men. So it'll be really interesting to be able to cast a women's volleyball game. I think that it's been a good matchup so far. I don't think that any team is specifically blown each other out. And as they go up to the line here, I was able to talk to a few IUP players as I was getting their roster, and they seem really pumped and really excited for this.
Yeah, they put together quite the event today here, the RMU folks. I mean, there's quite a number of teams in attendance, and this was an event they tried doing in the fall, and then just scheduling kind of had that one fall through, but they were able to get a good bit of people out here today. So we're just about ready for, this will be game 2 of Court 2. It'll be RMU Red versus IUP. I think IUP only has 1 team in the field, if I remember correctly. So I think this is just IUP's main squad here. I think it's IUP Black and RMU Red, and we'll be getting going in just a couple of moments.
Yeah, I was talking with the players, and they said that actually one of the people out there without the numbers in the gray shirt is from their other team. So I think that they are out here supporting each other and making sure that it's all working out.
Yeah, absolutely. So, just about ready to start this one here. This will be a 2-game series, for a lack of better terms. First, the 25 win by 2, and to keep things low, because this is the pool play of the tournament, they will have bracket play later this afternoon. So right now, just the best of 2. They'll play 1 game on this side, they'll play 1 game on the other side, and then they will leave the court for the next 2 teams to come up and play for their part of the pool.
Wow, that's really interesting. So no matter if they win or lose, they all go to the brackets.
Basically, I think it's just a lot of seeding earlier in the day here today. So, it's either that or, like, almost everyone makes it. I know Pool A's got 4 teams. This one, the RMU Red's in, it's Pool B, which has got 3 teams. So they might have a little more, what's the word I'm looking for here? A little easier time making the bracket play if there is any eliminations, although I don't know if there is. I think it's just going to be 2 versus 3, and then the winner plays 1 in the finals, and then Pool A, which we might cover a little bit later here, 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, so on and so forth. But we're just about getting ready to go here. The opening serve from IUP, that is Eve Rilburn, and that one is up and away. RMU trying to get it back across, unable to do so, and an early point for the IUP Crimson Hawks.
That can't feel good. You know, you're just starting off. You need to start off on the right foot, and you're just not doing that right now.
All right, ball in play. Dug out nicely by the Colonials, and now we've got ourselves a bit of a volley. Crimson Hawks return it back over. Popped up for the set play, trying to get to the cross, and was number 2 for the Colonials. That was Tatum Zwick. And then a block at the line there, but it goes out of play. Point for the Crimson Hawks. Both teams, I feel like, still trying to get into the rhythm a little bit, but IUP has found a little bit more of that early momentum through the opening couple of serves here.
And I think that'll be a real deciding factor in this, is that momentum. If you can, if the Colonials start to become a little bit defeated, you're going to watch it as they lose points. But I think that if they can keep their motivation up, then it'll be good for them.
Yep. So, another point there for IUP, and they're off to an early 3-0 lead here in Game 1. It is still Eve Rilburn with the serve here for the Crimson Hawks. Ball is up and across. Played up by the Colonials. And a nice little short play there by Haley Bear. Unable to get the point out of it, and the volley continues. Another chance here. Dug out nicely by IUP. And it's at the line, and that'll be the Colonials' first points of the, I was going to say the afternoon, but it's 10 a.m., so I guess first points of the morning.
I just noticed that we actually have 2 sisters on the team, number 6 and number 15, Maria and Madison Yaniga.
Very fun. IUP Not a great handle of that play, but is still able to get it across. Colonials looking for the set play here. Goes for the back door. The outside hitter unable to get it to drop. Play continues as it's dug out nicely there by the Colonials. Sending it across. Another great day. A couple of back and forth here. Neither side really finding the edge just yet. And the off speeder almost got him, but play continues. Oh, not handled great there by the IUP player. That might have been going out, but either way, points for the Colonials. Bailey Watson, number 10 for the Colonials, was able to kind of put that toward the back corner. The Crimson Hawks unable to handle it, and after conceding 3 straight points to start the day, a 2-point rally here has the Colonials knocking on the door of retying this game. Back and forth it goes once again. Both teams volleying really well here this morning. Neither side really taking control when the ball's in play.
And I think it's that slow, kind of almost methodical movement that'll win them the game. Is their ability to just kind of take it back and not rush up to the net, but taking those 3 hits to try to get it over as effectively as possible.
Yeah, both teams trying to scramble a little out of position there, but able to recover was that Colonial side, as that one was tipped over by Emily Faith, unable to get it to go. Second attempt there for the Colonial. IUP continuing to keep it alive.
This is a very long volley.
Yeah, they are really, really fighting for this point here. That ball's probably traveled up and over the net at least 10 times each way. Still alive. Floated over there by Jess Delaney on the IUP side. And then another off-speeder there from Haley Bear, unable to get it to fall. And the volley continues. This is quite the back and forth. As it finally goes down, and it will be, I believe, the Colonials point out of that. Yep, tie game, 3-3. Oh, no. The scoreboard says 3-3, but they gave the serve to IUP. So I'm not entirely sure which direction that actually went. We're seeing the same thing up in the booth as you guys are seeing on the screens here. I don't think it can be overstated, though, that was one hell of a rally between those two teams.
That was a long volley. If they keep these volleys up like this, we're going to be here for a long time.
Yeah. Well, we're sitting here, Super Bowl will have started, and we're like, wow, we're still in game 2 in the morning. It's a great shot there. Comes across through the back line there. That was Tatum Zwick from the back end. And it is now, I believe, oh, no, they finally corrected the score, so now it is 4-3.
So it looks like the libero is getting ready to serve. I forget who the libero is, but good serve. Nice setup. Spike. Looks like we're going to set up again for a nice, wow, real zinger for that one. And that is IUP Crimson Hawks point. Crimson Hawks are really keeping their motivation and really keeping that momentum, and I think it's really going to pull them ahead here. Unfortunately, as a Colonial supporter myself, and obviously that doesn't feel good when you hit the net and then you have to give your point to the other team. So it's just an easy point that needed to be given up, but that's unfortunate.
Sorry about that. I am back, and when I popped my head out the window there, it looked like the Colonials have developed their first lead of the morning. As that one, I don't think, stayed within the bounds of play, which means it'll be a 6-4 Colonials lead here early in Game 1 of Match 2, I guess is the official way to word that. There's so many different things happening out here today, it's hard to keep track of.
I did learn one thing, though. Play-by-play, not my strong suit.
Hey, you know, to each their own. Yeah, no, it's an adventure sometimes, that's for sure. Especially, I mean, like what you're saying, like, you only have casted a couple of volleyball games previously, so.
It's hard to keep track of the numbers. And then, like, I look back up and they're already done, like, a second play, and I'm like, uh-oh.
That one was served off the back of the baseline there by Emma Rometta for RMU, so the serve will return to the Crimson Hawks. IUP making a couple of substitutions, and stepping in now to serve is Grace Woodling, number 21. Shot is up, and not able to be handled by the RMU side, having a bit of trouble with it, was, I believe, Rometta for the Colonials. And now we've got ourselves a tie game once again. Serve is back up. Handled nicely by the RMU end this time, and they will return that one. And some trouble, a bit of a miscommunication there on the IUP back end on which player off the back line was going to go play it, and it cost them.
And we've said it before, and I'll say it again, communication is such a key aspect of any sport, and when you have those small little miscommunications, it'll really affect the whole game.
Absolutely. RMU starting to put together a little bit of a run here. I believe it's now either 8-6 or 9-6. Starting to get a bit of a lead. That one played up and over the net by the Colonials, and back away we go. Played across there by number 10, Mia Turnett. And that one stays inside the sideline. A beautifully played ball by the Colonials, and they're starting to string together a few points here, Emily.
Yeah, I think that the Colonials are really starting to feel themselves. They're starting to get into that little groove where they feel, good about themselves, and I think that's really going to help them.
Yeah, I mean, volleyball is one of the most momentum-heavy sports I feel like there are in a team setting. And RMU now really starting to get on a run here, as I believe they've now made it 11-6. So they're starting to really take control of this game. And if I'm IUP, if this stays up for much longer, we might have to look at calling a timeout, getting a bit of a regroup going. As that was dug out there nicely by the Colonials, and then tapped over the sideline there by Emily Faith. RMU on a roll right now.
It is now 12-6 RMU, which is one of the biggest leads. I mean, I guess it's the first game, so it's the biggest lead we've had.
Yeah, but I mean, even looking at the men's game yesterday, it never really got too stretched out. But IUP finally with an answer for the Colonials attack, able to steal a point back here, and we'll see if they can go on an equally impressive run to kind of tighten up this game. For the serve here, it is Becky Larkin, and not able to be dug out by the Colonials there. Having a bit of trouble with it was someone whose number I didn't actually catch, but one of the Colonials unable to dig that one out, and it's now 12-8. Played up over to the far side. Coming across nicely, though, to dig it out was Maria Yaniga.
That was beautiful.
RMU, though, keeping it alive. Senior captain Paige Mady plays that one over. And just a misplay there by Larkin, unable to clear the net. They were going for a bit more of a power spike from about midway back in the court and just didn't hit it cleanly. Goes into the net, and it will return as RMU serve. So now stepping up to serve, it is number 16, one of the senior captains, Paige Mady, for the RMU women's club volleyball team, senior leader of this RMU Red squad today. So that one's fought for at the net, kept alive, though, by the Crimson Hawks. And another play there, shipped over easily by Tatum Zwick, and that is another point for the Colonials. And we'll see if this momentum continues as they now lead 14-8. And unable to be dug out there, another great serve from Paige Mady makes it 15-8. RMU really starting the pull ahead here in game one.
And it's not for lack of trying either. IUP has had some really nice plays.
Battled for at the net, eventually played back into the IUP end and played across. Faith sets up, that was number 3, Riley Strasbaugh. Fought for at the net. Strasbaugh tried digging it out. Tough landing on the court there, unable to get it back over the net, but certainly not through a lack of effort. Is really laid out to try and get that one.
Was that a miscommunication, or was that just bad footing?
It was. I think it was just Strasbaugh was already up near the net, a bit out of position to play the previous ball, and kind of just had to dive to get back to her spot on the court. As diving for that one there was one of the Colonials keeping that play alive. Battled for at the net mouth. 3 Colonials collide. Faith chips it across over to Zwick. And now we've got ourselves a volley. IUP slowing the pace down a little bit. RMU getting it set. Faith back over to Zwick. Up over the net. Played back across. Finds that near side, but handled nicely by the Colonials' defense. Straw's ball tries going to the near side.
No.
2 IUP players take themselves out. Able to keep it across, though. And this is an impressive volley, especially for the intensity that's being shown. I mean, there's people flying all over the place. And they call that one, I believe, in favor of the Colonials. I think they played that one out of bounds.
That was a pretty violent collision we saw there from those 2 IUP girls.
16-9, your score here for the Colonials. Emily Faith will serve it up and across. And that was out of play. The RMU Colonials unable to handle that one. Both teams now have hit the double-digit mark, 16-10, as it currently stands.
It looks like IUP's taking a second to regroup here. We're going to get a good serve here from number 18, Eve Kilburn.
Yeah, and IUP starting to put together a couple of points here. The gap is only 5, although that's what it's been roughly since around the, I want to say the 10-4, 11-6 mark, somewhere around there. Either way, is IUP with the serve. Colonials get under it, and they set up for an attack. Chipped across there by Valenti, and that'll end up being a point for the Colonials. IUP not able to handle it cleanly. 17-11, your score. It'll be Tatum Zwick lining up to take the serve for the RMU Red squad here. Only 8 points away from taking the first half of this best of 2 here in pool play. And spiked down with authority by number 1, Sammy Brunk for the IUP Crimson Hawks.
That was aggressive.
However, I believe they said she hit the net, so
What?
It does not count.
Oh, no.
So, highlight reel play does not count as that got her hand into the net there.
I think it should have counted.
The Colonials now, I believe, are going to retain serve after that one hits the net. Oh, no, that's IUP. So, 18-12, your score at the moment. No, it is still RMU serve. Maybe it's 19-11. Yeah, 19-11 is the score. Battled for at the net front. IUP able to bring it back in from the far corner. Tried playing, chipped across. Zwick gets under it. Over the Faith. Straw's ball. That one goes for the Colonials. 20-11 now. They are 5 points away from taking game number 1.
IUP just really needs to regroup here. I think that a timeout would be well deserved and well needed.
Yeah, absolutely. They could probably use a second to try and get their bearings here, as this one's starting to get to a point where it might be unobtainable if RMU gets a couple more points here in the next couple plays. As that one, again, Brunk went for the spike, unable to get it to go. And again, I think she hit the net. She's having just a tough time getting that ball over without colliding with the net.
They're calling a timeout right here.
Yep, and a timeout for IUP. The score 21-11 RMU.
Jeez.
RMU only 4 points away from taking game number 1. Emily, right now, what do you think the Colonials are doing really well that have given them this 10-point lead here?
I think that what the Colonials are doing is I think that they didn't let IUP's little lead in the beginning get to them, and I think that that's really what's putting them ahead right now. And as we said earlier, this is a very momentum-heavy sport. Because they're able to pull ahead and because they have such a big lead right now, they're really feeling themselves, and they're not allowing themselves to make the little mistakes and be sloppy with their work.
Absolutely, I couldn't agree more. I mean, they really refocused. I mean, they were down 3-0. They really kind of regrouped, and they didn't really look back beyond that. So, on the precipice of taking the first half of this best of 2, as it currently stands, just need 4 more points. IUP, on the other hand, I mean, it hasn't been through a lack of effort, but they certainly find themselves in quite the hole here at the moment. And at this point, it might just be a matter of trying to get a couple points for some momentum for game number 2, as they might be a little too far behind the 8 ball here to make a comeback in game number 1.
And it's just those little mistakes that'll really lose you the points. It's not, the big ones that you can point to and say, hey, this is what happened. It's the tiny ones you may not notice.
And those start to add up over the course of a round here, as both teams have retaken the floor, trying to wrap up game number 1 here. It'll be Tatum Zwick serving for the Colonials. Served across. Oh, and it doesn't actually clear the net. Went for a bit of a, I'm not going to say sleight of hand, but went looking one way, tried getting it on the other side, and just didn't clear the net.
Number 5. Well, we don't have a number 5. Who was that? 6? Keeping it in, and they weren't able to do it.
Yeah, not much going there for IUP. That'll be another Colonial point. 22-12, the score. And serving now for the Colonials, it is number 10, Bailey Watson, who I believe is playing libero for them this afternoon, or this morning. I'm so unused to doing morning games. It just doesn't feel natural to say this morning. That one does find its way across the net mouth. Battling for it right up front there was Mady for RMU.
Oh.
Tried finding the back corner there was Becky Larkin for the Crimson Hawks. Unable to do so, just shot it a little wide. And now, only 2 points away from victory are the RMU Colonials. Watson with the serve once again. Dug out there by Uniga. Played over. Watson keeps it alive. Faith. Back to Watson, gets it across the net. IUP setting it up. And finally, one of those attempts from Brunk gets over the net without touching the net. Finally, a bit of a reward for some of the efforts that she had so far today.
Yeah, the Crimson Hawks, I think, needed that point to just kind of regroup and be like, okay, you want to know what? Even though it's a 2-point game now, like, we still got it.
23-13 your score. Faith sets up Valenti, and then Faith tried getting it on that quick rebound off the block, unable to do so. And now IUP with a couple points in a row here. Still have a long way to go if they want to get back into this game, and not a lot of time to do it. But, they're on the right track at the moment as Brunk goes for the serve, gets it across.
The timeout seemed to have worked for them in their favor.
Oh, and perfectly finding that back corner was number 1, Destiny Valenti for the Colonials. 24-14 your score, 1 point away. Game point here in Game 1 between RMU Red and IUP. It'll be Valenti to serve. Game point on the line. IUP sets up the attack. Goes for it, and it is not in play. RMU will take game number 1, 25-14, after that attempt from IUP just exceeds the sideline by a matter of inches. An exciting game number 1 if you're part of the home crowd here.
Yeah, definitely. Getting the fans pumped up and doing a great job.
So we've got our resident caster for hockey, Caden McCrory, out here helping us with some of the scoring because we're not able to see the scoreboard too well from our angle. And once this game wrapped up, he just wrote "woo" on the board and gave it to us as the message to let you all know. So we're pumped up here in the booth. The fans are pumped up downstairs. They're going to be back in just a second, but in the meantime, we're going to be taking a brief intermission, and we'll be right back. We are back here for game number 2. RMU took game number 1, 25-14. And I am going to have to replace my chair because it just broke.
That is not good.
No. I'm kind of watching everything at a slant right now.
That is not okay. That'll get annoying.
Yeah, that's a bit unfortunate, but, life goes on, I suppose.
Life does go on, unfortunately.
You all right? Well, just about time for game number 2. It looks like it'll be Emily Faith for the Colonials getting ready with the serve here. Balls away, and game number 2 has started here between the Colonials and IUP, and IUP starts game 2 the way they start game 1 with the early lead.
I'm just hoping we don't rewrite history here or repeat history, I guess would be the more accurate statement, because we did see IUP start with a lead and then not have that lead.
Yeah, no, they kind of had a bit of a rough one there. But Watson gets it across for the Colonials. The battle is on here near the net mouth. Watson has to go way back to play that one. Played back across by Strasball. IUP gets it back over. 2 Colonials meet to play that initial ball. And then it's Tatum Zwick with the heat seeker that missed the back line. And it is 2-0 IUP. All right. With a fresh chair acquired that isn't broken, we're ready to go. Bit of a collision there between the 2 Colonials, but they were able to keep it up still. Strasball played to the cross. And eventually that ends up being an IUP point. Something must have went wrong there, but I couldn't quite tell from my angle what it was.
Number 18, Eve Kilburn, is up for the serve.
And Kilburn gets it across. Colonials play it up. Watson gets it over. Played back over there. And Brunk, with the powerful play, gets it just past Haley Bear for the Colonials. IUP out exactly the way they... Or, no, actually they're saying she hit the net once again, I think.
Oh, my goodness.
I'm trying to keep an eye... The score is throwing me off. I'm not entirely sure what they keep changing it down there. It was saying 2-2, but I think it might be 3-1. I think it's 3-1 IUP at the moment, as that one plays across. Going for the long ball there was Maria Yanega. Back on the near side there is Zwick playing it across. They're playing a very horizontal game toward the net, and eventually they're saying that one didn't stay in play. That is a point for RMU, and I think finally the scoreboard has corrected itself. 3-2 the score. IUP leads, but RMU with a chance to tie it on this opportunity here. Zwick with the serve. Played out by number 10, Desi Bede. Still in play.
Oh, my goodness.
And I
have no idea.
I don't know how many hits that was. That probably was too many, though, from my understanding. Yeah, I think it's going to be the IUP serve here. So it'll be Maria Yanega serving for IUP. Played across. Faith plays a bit of the blind tap. IUP responds nicely, and then diving for it to dig it out was Zwick, unable to do so. IUP leads by a score of 5-2 at the moment.
Yeah, I think IUP needed that regroup before coming out in order to do this right now.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the Colonials respond to finding themselves in the early hole here, as Watson unable to handle that one. 6-2 now the score, and this is the biggest deficit that they've faced all morning, so we'll have to see if they can respond in kind or if they're going to have a rough game too here. Serve the cross. Faith pitches it up for Strasball. Met at the line and blocked away by a combination of Jess Delaney and Sammy Brunk. I want to say Burke, but there's another R in there. Or there's an N in there. So, IUP now with a pretty sizable lead as Strasball went for it, and another block there by the combination of Delaney and Brunk over there on that far side. IUP leads 8-2 after a couple of really strong defensive plays. Serve the cross. Watson unable to really get a handle on it. And this one is getting, I won't say out of hand in a hurry, but it's getting lopsided in a hurry.
Yeah.
If I'm RMU, I might even consider using the timeout real early here.
Yeah, dare I say, it seems as though IUP is really pulling ahead here.
Yeah, they woke up a little bit as Valenti gets that one across. Played out, though, by, that was number 18, Eve Rilburn. Faith over to Strasball. Takes a different approach to it. Unable to block it was the IUP side, but they are going to play it back across. Zwick. Faith. The tap across there by Bear. Unable to go. Met at the net mouth there. Becky Larkin gets it to go. Valenti got a hand on it to block it, but was not able to block it in play. That one careens off her hand and back toward court number 1 that is off camera. And timeout called, I believe, by the RMU side.
Yeah.
10-2 the score. This, yeah, you need to take a timeout here if you're the Colonial side. I mean, they are just having a rough go of things at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, you can't be expected to continue to play as well if you're having such a high deficit after winning by so much last game.
Yeah, the game 1 got pretty out of hand toward the end in favor of RMU. This one already very out of hand in favor of the IUP side, so not super balanced for either of these games so far, but we'll see if this timeout here can help them all kind of regroup and get focused again, because they right now need to figure out 2 things. One, they need to handle the serves better because they've had a couple of serves that they just have not played cleanly, and they need to find a way to attack on that far side and have it not get blocked by the combination of Brunk and Delaney, because those two have already 2 or 3 blocks on that far side, and that's a big reason for why the momentum is as tilted as it is at the moment.
And I think the part of it, too, is how deep is your bench, right? RMU has 2 people on the bench, no coach or any mentor of some sort, and IUP has a whole new set of people, a whole 5 people that they can easily switch out, and a coach / captain from another team that can help them.
Brunk spikes that one out of bounds, and finally RMU will get the point and the opportunity to serve here. To your point, Emily, I mean, like, if RMU condensed themselves back down in the 1 team, you might have more of that bench that you're talking about, but they've split them into 2 teams here to have 2 teams in this this event today. So RMU Navy's on court 1. We'll see them in a little bit. So they have some depth, but it's not at the moment because they're kind of playing as many people as they can at once. IUP unable to get that one back across the net, and it's still 10-4, but that is a lot better than when it was 10-2 right before that timeout. It'll be Haley Bear serving for the Colonials. It's away. It's a high arcing one. And a complete miscommunication there by IUP. Bede chipped it up for one of her teammates, and all 3 of them just kind of looked at each other and said, yeah, I'm sure someone's going to get it. And then no one moved. 5-10 the score. Served across. Popped up by Bede. They set up Brunk. Tries to get to the cross, but RMU is able to handle it. Strasball gets it through the gap there. Finally, she's able to get one past the combination of Delaney and Brunk, and her, I think, first real points of Game 2 here comes at a good time. RMU now with 4 points in a row here off the timeout.
Yeah, Brunk is definitely probably one of their best spikers that we've seen out here.
Strasball put some heat on that one, but did not keep it in bounds. IUP will regain the serve here. 11-6 Crimson Hawks. Going to serve, it is the libero Bede for IUP. And that one directly into the net. That ain't going to do it if you are on the IUP side. Serve returns to the Colonials, and it'll be number 6, Emma Rometta, serving for the Colonials. Last time she went to go serve, it went into the net as well, so hopefully she kind of regroups on this attempt. Is this one up and over with ease? Bede doesn't handle it cleanly. IUP has to scramble to get it across, and that is out of bounds. RMU point.
That was close, too.
Yeah, it was a pretty good effort to kind of go blind, like back behind your head. Got the distance, just slightly off the mark accuracy-wise. Rometta gets it in. 2 IUP players dive for it, and they're able to keep it alive. Good dig there. Sends it across to Strasball, who played it back toward Larkin. Delaney with the spike, unable to get under it, was the Colonials. IUP with a nice little sequence there, and they continue the lead by 4, 12-8.
RMU's definitely catching up, but IUP's really trying to hold on to that lead.
Yeah, they're gonna. If you're on the IUP side, you're gonna need more plays like that to continue to hold on to this lead that has shrunk from about 8 points down to 3 or 4 here in the recent minutes. As that one dug out by the Colonials, played back towards Zwick, and Bede was able to handle it. Battling for it there, unable to keep it in play. RMU not able to corral it. 13-8 IUP. Serving now, it'll be Grace Woodling for IUP.
Woodling with a nice serve. And
Mady got a hand on it, but unable to dig it out off of that was Faith or Rametta. And IUP now leads by, I believe, 6, 14-8. They're starting to kind of pull back ahead like they did at the start of this game here. RMU had a surge coming off the timeout, but that momentum seems to have dried up for the moment as Watson plays that across. Bit of a misplay there. Lost her footing for a brief second was number 6, Maria Yaniga for IUP. And that ended up costing them as that ball, instead of getting popped up toward her teammate, went over toward the sidewall and nearly hit the scoring table. 9-14. An astute observation made by our friend over on the camera here, Nate Fennell, talking about how it's been a very run-heavy game. You know, some team goes on like a 6-7 point run, then another team goes on like a 6-7 point run. And I think that's a very, very fair observation to make.
I would agree. Once one team starts to get it, the other team starts to lose it, and then it switches again.
Battle at the net mouth there. IUP keeps it alive. Woodling tried just lofting it over the net, instead hits the net. And it'll be RMU's point, and I believe now both teams have entered double digits. IUP leads 15-10. Watson serves it across. Under it was Larkin. And chipped across by Faith, unable to handle it was the IUP defense. 11-15 now, RMU back within 4. Oh, it's 13? That doesn't, okay. Okay, so the scoring table is, we're having as much time with the scoring as you are, folks at home, as trying to keep an eye on what is going on, but I believe it's saying, what now, 16-13? Okay. Under it there was Straw's ball over the Faith. Played the Zwick, who had the right angle, but just a little too low, catches the top of the net. There was some open room there in the middle of the IUP defense, but just unable to clear the net, and IUP will take the point. Larkin met at the net mouth there. Ball still up in play. Almost a miscommunication, but RMU recovers. Watson sends it across. Woodling sends it over to Yaniga. Faith plays it back over to Zwick, and getting under it nicely there was Angelina. Is it Ricci? I can't even read that name from here. Ricciuti, sorry. A lot more letters than I thought in that initial attempt there from the side glances. That one goes up by Brunk, dug out nicely by the Colonials. Still fighting for it, but it'll be IUP's point after a very rapid back-and-forth volley.
Yeah, definitely one of the fastest volleys we've seen, but certainly not the longest one.
Yeah, that one right in the beginning of Game 1 I felt like took 5 minutes by itself.
I would agree.
IUP leads 18-13. Watson plays it over the Faith. Straw's ball tries finding the back corner, but picked up nicely by Woodling. Yaniga serves it. Watson dug it out. Over to Zwick. Under it was Larkin, but the ball ends up in the net. RMU's point. It'll be 18-14. Just a reminder for anyone who may have tuned in a bit late, RMU did take Game 1 of this best of 2, 25-14. IUP currently leads in this one, 18-14. If IUP was to hold on to the win here, it would be a split here in pool play, so neither team would really get a major advantage in the seeding for the bracket play later this afternoon. If RMU wins this one, then that goes a huge way to getting that number 1 seed for the bracket play.
Does having a high seeding really affect everything that much?
Well, I mean, in the pool here, in Pool B, there's only 3 teams. So if you are the number 1 seed, you would get the first round bye, and then you only have to beat one of those teams to win your group. But if you are, one of the 2 or 3 seeds, you got to go through the other opponent and then the number 1 seed to. So it does make the path a bit easier if you are, if you 2 and 3 in this scenario, there's not a huge difference. But if you are the number 1 seed, it would make a pretty significant impact. Bede pops it over the Woodling. Played back across. That was Madison Uniga, the other Uniga sister. As that one spiked by Zwick, handled nicely though by Larkin. Both teams going back and forth with it now. Popped up, looking to get it across. They send it over to Uniga, and Zwick unable to handle it on that horizontal spike. And it is now 19-15, IUP within 6 of splitting this match.
This sport is really dangerous. That ball comes flying at people, and I see them covering their heads, and I don't blame them. I don't know why people are willingly sitting on the sidelines over there.
Well, are you familiar with the story of Scott Sterling?
No, please enlighten me.
It's a comedy bit that's online, but he has it's initially for like a soccer goalkeeper. At that point, there goes for RMU, but the running gag both for the soccer goalkeeper one and the volleyball one is that he just blocks everything with his face. But like he still feels pain and all that, but like he just has this uncanny ability to block everything with his face, and by the end of it, he ends up like having to get like stretchered off because he took like 5 straight spikes to the face. All right, as that one set up there, Uniga into the net, RMU's point. This one's still pretty in reach, I'd say, for either team. IUP still with a definitive lead, but with it only being a 2 or 3 point gap, RMU in striking distance as it's 19-17. IUP unable to handle that one cleanly, and just like that, it is a 1 point game. After RMU trailed 10-2 at one point, it's 19-18. They're only 1 point away from tying this one up. On the serve is Tatum Zwick. Beads under it. Feeds it across to Uniga. Blocked there by Riley Strasball, but it was out of bounds, IUP point.
And that really has to suck when you know you've blocked it, but just because of the angle of your hand or just a little bit something, now all of a sudden you're giving the point to the other team.
Yeah, I mean, it's the nature of the beast, but, it still feels good, I'm sure, to get a piece of it, even if it doesn't stay in play. But I'm going to see when it's in play, it's a significantly nicer bonus. As this one set up on the far side to Larkin, who gets it up and over Valenti. Point for IUP. 21-18 the score. RMU needs to dig deep here if they want to come back in this one. Serve the cross by Uniga. Dug out by Strasball. Over to Watson, who plays it across. Bede sets up Brunk. Kept
Nice
up
touch.
there. Emily Faye sends it over the Strasball again. Oh, just too far of the back line. 22-18 IUP now.
I think the only thing that's keeping RMU Red in this is the idea that even if IUP wins, they still have a second chance in the 15-point match.
Well, this is just a best of 2 for pool play. So they would just chalk it up as a tie. As this ball served away over the back line, a bit of a giveaway there from the Crimson Hawks. RMU now with an opportunity to try and rally back, down 3, 22-19, but still within striking distance enough to potentially go on a run here and close this one out. Haley Bear to serve. Bear looked for a bit of a side angle shot, ends up clipping the net, and that is not what you want to see after an unforced error by IUP. Another unforced error for RMU gives the ball right back to him, 23-19.
I think both teams are getting tired here, Alex.
Well, I hope not. They still got a lot of volleyball left to go.
I don't know what to tell you.
As Bede serves it up for the Crimson Hawks. Played up by Valenti. Watson gets it back towards center. Zwick plays it across. IUP plays it up. Bit of a miscommunication there between Ritucci and Delaney. RMU gets the point, 23-20. Now your score. RMU will go back to the serving box. It'll be Emma Remetta serving for RMU. Remetta gets it across. Played up by Uniga. And it was met at the line there. Mady and Faith were both there, and I don't even think they had to make contact with it. But number 18, Eve Rilburn for IUP, didn't really handle it cleanly. RMU's point, 23-21, the Crimson Hawks lead, but RMU is trying to make this comeback. As not handled cleanly by IUP there, Bede plays it away. It's now a 1 point game, 23-22. It is getting tight toward the end here. And IUP, I believe, just called a timeout. So, both teams within striking distance of victory here, Emily. For one team, an opportunity to start the day 2-0 and win the full match. For the other team, an opportunity to walk out of here, in this match at least, having not lost any ground on the rest of the field.
And the one that would be winning 2 would be RMU, yeah. I think that RMU just really needs to pull it together. I think that they have the opportunity to win here, and I think that they just need to keep up communication and make sure that they're all supporting each other.
I just want to give a big shout out to all of the folks here at the RMU production team for waking up early today to come out here and help put on this game. You can tell everyone's a little sleepy because they're out here singing the BK commercial, but you know, we're having a good time as Remetta serves that one across. And not handled by IUP. It's a tie game, 23-23.
And it's win by 2?
Win by 2. And, you know, if both of them say hit 24, they'll have to play the 26. So, and that can go on for who knows how long. We've seen an RMU game go as high as 29-27 before, as Bede did not handle that one cleanly, but IUP still able to play it across. Zwick over the Faith, sends it over the Straws ball, but kept alive by IUP. Bede over to Delaney. Watson keeps it up to Faith. Mady on the near side, almost got it to go. Players are tumbling, but IUP gets it across. Watson over the Faith. Paige Mady going back to the far side, handled by IUP. They are going back and forth here. Diving for it was Zwick, unable to get under it. IUP, game point, and I guess technically match point, but it would be, you know, it's not like a match win, but more of a match tie here.
Yeah.
But it'll be Grace Woodling serving, trying to close one out for IUP. The Colonials trying to get a couple of points in a row here. They're going to need to get 3 straight if they're going to win it 26-24. That one served across well over the back line, and that is going to be a tie game. RMU now with the opportunity to pull ahead and win this one. It'll be Riley Strasball serving for the Colonials after the unforced error by IUP. Strasball up and over the net. Dug out there by IUP. Woodling trying to get under it with Strasball. She dove for it, unable to get there. And now the serve will go back to IUP for the second time here. It'll be match point this time, though. Becky Larkin serving for the Crimson Hawks. RMU needs to string 2 together here to win it. Strasball hits it across. Larkin's under it. Woodling sends it all the way across to Yaniga, and that one will do it. 26-24, the final in game 2. They'll split the match 1-1, and neither team really going to walk away with the edge here in the bracket after the first round of pool play here for RMU, and I believe that was IUP's second one here of pool play. So, an exciting first game here. What we are going to do is step aside for a moment. We'll be at intermission, and when we come back, it'll be RMU Navy versus some opponent. I don't know who's next on the bracket for them, but I am sure we will find that out momentarily. So we will be right back with RMU Navy versus one of their upcoming opponents.